things were really bad. I was really maltreated.
Where were you living when your dad died?
Ibadan. We're living in Ibadan. Because I grew up in Ibadan, school in Ibadan, you know. So I went to Port Harcourt and I was really maltreated by the person I was supposed to stay with, you know, and I ran away from home, then stayed under the bridge in Umola, then in Port Harcourt. Started doing all manner of stuff, met young boys whereby we were stealing to eat, stealing bread, stealing coke, just to at least eat, you know. Then started working in the market, you know, where we grind pepper with our hands, all those traditional ones, just to kind of make money, you know. Then it got to a point whereby I felt like I could not stay in Port Harcourt anymore. And I had to run back to Ibadan. I remember stealing my aunt's money and ran to a park that I was going to Ibadan. I remember very well. I sat this normal bus. I sat on that engine part from Port Harcourt to Ibadan.
Wow!
Because the driver would just cheat me.
I know that thing. They call it manage.
Exactly.
You sit on the engine. Your bum is going to be very hot.
I sat with different style. I sat with my kind of bent. There's no way I did not sit. You know. Then I remembered where we were staying in Ibadan. I remember the house, and I feel like when I just go back. By the time I go back, everything was taken from my mom. Everything was kind of went south. The family
took
exactly
the property.
Yeah, everything. You know. Then I remember one of her friends. I remember one of the schools she was working at. They had to go meet her. Go to the school to look for my mom there. She was no longer there. But luckily, her friend, who's a colleague, also was still there and knew where she was staying. Then,
your mom?
Yeah, when my mom was staying in Ibadan. Then
you were looking for your mom?
I was looking for my mom. We were staying in Bashan. That gave us the best when it comes to education and all that. We had the best of schools. We attended Mary Hill Convent School, one of the best primary schools in Ibadan, you know. So we went there, and by the time we got to the house where my mom was staying, like my mom saw me from afar. She was like, "Yo, we live in a garden, we drink together. We go drink and die together." Like she was not going to let us go anywhere anymore.
Wow!
And this was around January to around Alakia Isebo. But that's where the house was. It faced me. I'm like, there was no toilet. And we were 4 staying in the same room. And I'm really grateful for the kind of mom I have. She had many offers to send us to the village to live her life, and people had offers of who were to my, but she never did for once. She was like, it's my children or nothing, you know. So I remember when I got to Ibadan, I'm like, okay, my schooling system had already kind of gone off. I had to repeat classes because of. I'm like, okay, I can't be schooling. And my mom's suffering to pay her school fees, and she's just because she was a beautiful housewife, you know.
My dad was. I think in a day I was paid 200 naira. Some market menus
like, no, thank you, but in our house we wanted it. We're just refusing, and that was how we're making money. Just to
for context,
yeah.
Right now, you are a special advisor.
Yes, sir.
To one of the ministers.
Yes, sir.
Of this federation.
Yes, sir.
And you are saying you've gone through this.
Yes, sir. I have. I've even gone through more. Like I remember, I also worked at a sawmill. You know, I worked at the beer parlor. You know, I pushed wheelbarrow. You know, did all sorts. You know, but if there's one thing that success was a must for me. You know, so I did all that, struggling. Then I joined the church, joined the choir. You know, believing that I was going to be successful. You know, but nothing was really working. Nothing was working. Like I just had this belief. If there's one slogan I have right now, which I live all the days about, is I would never be stranded. I hold on to that even at the verge of. So yeah. So I met this lady also, amazing woman in church who we started dating. And at that time I had nothing. I remember very well the first bed I had was given to me by her. She was using in school, you know. I was struggling.
What was her name?
Chinwe Ashley. And Ashley was an English name. Chinwe was a regular Igbo name.
You started dating?
Yes.
She met you in the midst of that struggle?
Yes.
And believed in you?
I can say that she is, I don't want to just offend my family, but she's the one person that I think believed in me the most.
Wow.
Because in all reality, nothing about me was pointing towards success.
Wow.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. She could have been with anybody else, but sometimes I still wonder how, you know, but she stood by me and said, Kelvin, I believe in you and you will make it. I remember one day we were together and she said, Kelvin, you'll be a great man. And I said, amen. She said, no, I'm not praying. It's what I see. And that's kind of stood by me. And the funny thing is, I just kind of I live life knowing that I have this grace. I'm graced already. I just feel like my life is just a story of grace. So I remember when in Ibadan then, I tried doing O-level. Even the O-level was, and I was in least qualification wise. I went out with an O-level. Everybody had masters, BScs. You know, I did the interview and I was called to come resume. Just in 2011. You know. And everybody was like, how did you get a job with MTN? Like, how did you, so it was a franchise of MTN, Pure Silver Communication, you know, and like, how did you do this? Even me, sometimes I can't explain it, you know. And I did that, then I think I made some money. I was like, oh, let me start. People were pressuring me, like, I need to go to school. But I just knew that school or no school, I would make them. I would be successful. But I struggled, I decided to now. It might not be useful to tender, but the knowledge I kind of gathered from there was a lot, you know. Then I had to leave the company I was working for, then got another job with a paint manufacturing company as a key account manager also. Then got another job with another place for a sales role. Then in 2016, my girlfriend had to leave Nigeria for her master's, and I'm like, it's over.
That's the lady that lived in.
Yeah, I'm like, how do I want to do this? Because her presence was, as in, she being and everything was really helping, you know. So she left 2016, November, December 2016, and in January 1st, I said, God, you must give me a new job. I don't know how you'll do it, but then I heard of an offer, a job with a company in Port Harcourt, oil and gas firm, and I went for the interview in faith because they stated all they wanted.
Qualification?
None. They stated all they wanted. They stated they want someone who has this, because it was an IT manager role.
Yeah.
And I did not have iTones of tea in any way. You know, all I had were just some Googling how to type on the internet. I didn't have any certification. You know. So I went for the interview. We were quite a lot, and I was intimidated. When I entered there, I was asking questions. You know, like me, it wasn't I can package when I wore my suit or my tie. I got there. I saw the guys. Even just their English alone was intimidating. But I still did the interview. You know, and we did the test. I wrote the test. Then I got a call about a week after and said this was on a Wednesday. I got a call on a Wednesday asking me if I could resume on Monday in Port Harcourt. Whereas I was in Ibadan. I was based in Ibadan. I didn't even think of where I would stay or anything. I'm like, I just said, yes, I will resume. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I started gathering money everywhere, sold everything I had in my house, you know, that I was staying. Saturday morning, I left for Abuja, for Port Harcourt. You know, with no idea of where to stay. My plan was when I get to Port Harcourt, I'll find a hotel to stay for 2 days. Then on Monday, beg my office at please accommodation. So on my way to Port Harcourt, I got a call from one of our bishops in my former church, and he says, Kelvin Ibulu, I'm like, I'm on my way to Port Harcourt. That he wanted me to help him do something to take somewhere. I'm like, I'm on my way to Port Harcourt. Like, Port Harcourt, really? That he's in Port Harcourt. He's based in Port Harcourt. Like, where am I going to stay? I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to stay at the moment. I was like, that he has a house in his place. He's the only one staying. Mommy only comes whenever she wants to come. I'm like, oh, okay.
This grace thing.
I got to Port Harcourt. Bishop came to pick me at the park. You know, took me to his house, gave me a room, a bed. You know, I can remember I went to work the first day with Bishop's car. He told me, Kelvin, take it, go. I'm like, okay. So I got to the office. They were like, who is this one that came with it was in an SUV. I'm like, well, I went there, resumed. And the lady told me that the reason why you got this job is because we called everybody because you were the 6th qualified person. We called the first 5. They said they could not resume on Monday. That's why you're getting the job.
My God.
I'm like,
my God.
I'm like, okay, all right. The salary was about 105,000 naira to start. And I'm like, okay, I was going to take it. In 2 years, how I rose from where I was to where I became, you know, I cannot explain it. I started enjoying managerial privileges. I just got favored.
With O level.
Then I got there and they decided to train me to go learn what it takes to be an IT guy. Sent me on training in Lagos. Then that was the first time I got on a flight in my life. I was in 2018. Like I can never forget when
some months ago, that was in October, I was interviewed on Stories with ApostleFemiLazarus when I was Dr. where I shared my testimony of how God helped. But unfortunately, a few days after that Stories, I lost my job, you know, and it was not funny, you know, and I got many messages from people, many laughs, like, they don't come on tonight, you go rest, you know. People were saying all manner of things that me, I went to come with my testimony, that my yam has not done yet, and I'm like, the Pastor Femi was trying to listen, I'm like, I reached out to Pastor Femi to share my testimony, I was praising everybody, and it gives God really bad. It was as if I was going back to where I was coming from. Everyone that used to call me then, stop calling me. Everyone that was supposed to be there, stop picking my call. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I said, and one thing about me is that when I go through physical, I just isolate myself. I got used to isolating myself. I want to thank Bishop. Bishop was always on my case, calling me. I was the one who kept me to stuff. I didn't want to start explaining things to people because I felt ashamed. I'm like, how would the world hear my story and they can't see anything happening in my life anymore? So I went through that phase, October, November. I tried getting into ministries. I tried about 5 different ministries. I was doing proposals for these ministries and seeing how I can get in again. You know, fast forward to December, I step after the next to share with him. I was not happy. And he prayed with me and said, God told him to give me congratulations hug in advance, which I received, you know.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. So in January, I got discouraged. I got really discouraged. But I keep reminding myself of that talk. And sometimes I got to a point and I went and I said, God, it has to be 50-50. If I get ashamed, we will share the shame. So you have to just do something, because I had to start going into my DM to read testimonies to him that those of my testimonies, someone said this, someone said that, someone said. So if you want more of this to be said to your glory, do something, but nothing was happening. So on Saturday last week, I decided to just send one of my friends a message who works in the villa, who works in the presidency. I said, oh bro, I'm not doing anything now and I'm really depressed staying at home. I would like to at least maybe come to your office once in a while just to come and work on my own PC and do my own personal business, and just do my own thing. And I was like, okay, fine, no problem. So on Sunday, I decided I've not worn a suit in a long time. So on that day, on that Monday, I decided to wear a suit. I put on a tie, I put on a shoe. Like I was dressing really corporate. You would think I was going to my own office, but I was going to go and borrow post at the end of the day, So I got to his office that day by around 11, and he was not there. Then a few hours later, he came in and was like, oh, he's rushing into the presidency. He has a meeting with one minister and the chief of staff, and he wants to just quickly meet. And I'm like, oh, okay. So he left. I sat down in the office, slept off, because I was really not doing anything on my PC. I didn't really have anything to do, but I just stayed there. A few hours later, he came back and was like, oh, the son of this minister is coming to the office right now to see him, and you can be a Hesse now. I'm like, bro, of course, why not? He said, just sit down, just wait. He said, arrange yourself, package it up. So I said, package yourself. I just said, so when you come, sit down here, cross your leg, and I'm like, fine, no wahala. So the son of the minister came to the office, and the guy was like, oh, this is Kelvin, he's a great guy, and then and I'm like, I'm not this marketer, as in way you're marketing me. I'm like, this is not me, And he said, and the guy was like, okay, all right. He took my number and he asked me there and there, okay, what would you want to do for us at the ministry? At that point, all I could remember were the times of preparation for other ministries. And I just came up with a portfolio, and I said, it was like, okay, no problem. He went, he told me to send him a text, my full name, my address, and the portfolio which I sent to him. The following morning, around 12 noon, I got a message, come to so and so, come to the office. I went to the office, I got to the office, I met the minister, and my letter was ready.
Somebody, you're still sitting down. God that changes a man's story in the twinkle of an eye. Can you celebrate Jesus?
Like, what did you study? I'm like, what did you do your master's? I was like, I don't have a master's. So, okay, your BSc? I don't have a BSc. Just like, how are you so smart? And I'm like, I don't know, And I was giving my letter immediately in less than 24 hours.
Somebody celebrate Jesus.